Are Napoleon Wilson, the hero, and Snake Plissken, who's from Escape from New York, the same character?
Well, there are several characters that I've done in movies that are based on the same kind of guy. Snake Plissken in Escape, Napoleon Wilson in Assault, Desolation Williams in Ghosts of Mars. All of these guys have certain basic things in common, and they're based on a real guy that I knew. I grew up with him in high school. He was my best friend. And a combination of this fellow and my own alter ego. It's parts of my personality. So really not giving a shit about anything.
If you were to ask me, what are my top 3 John Carpenter films? Halloween, The Thing, and Assault on Precinct 13. You don't think this is a horror film? Sit back, relax, grab a brew, and welcome to Horror Fiend Drive-In Theater.
Hey, this is regular vanilla. I wanted vanilla twist.
You're not a psychopath. You're not stupid.
I am an asshole. Can't take everything away from me.
November 3rd, 1976, John Carpenter's low-budget exploitation film Assault on Precinct 13 would release. A film where Carpenter would have total creative control. Howard Hawks' classic western film Rio Bravo and George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead would inspire a young Carpenter to put his own spin on the infamous Siege formula. Assault on Precinct 13 is a cult classic. However, that wasn't always the case, as with Carpenter's later films like The Fog and The Thing, Assault was released to an underwhelming box office return. Sheer violence and mayhem would later trigger the MPAA over a certain scene depicting a child's murder. Nonetheless, the film carried on with an R rating, and the rest is history. South Central LA, a cache of deadly firearms including assault rifles and pistols would be stolen by a vicious local gang named Street Thunder. Anderson, California, a police force of heavily armed officers would ambush and kill a half a dozen members belonging to Street Thunder. Soon enough, 4 of the lethal gang's warlords swear a blood oath and head off to terrorize anyone who stands in their way. Here comes revenge. Lieutenant Ethan Bishop, a recently promoted officer, is tasked with overseeing the decommissioned Anderson Police Precinct 13 during its final hours of operations.
Black?
For over 30 years.
With only a skeleton staff of employees, including Sergeant Cheney and a couple secretaries, Leah and Julie. Meanwhile, a prison bus carrying prisoners on death row soon arrives after an inmate becomes severely ill. Led by Starker, played by Carpenter regular Charles Cyphers, the transit vehicle contains famed convicted murderer Napoleon Wilson,
Got a smoke?
Wells, and sick inmate Carl Dell. On the other side of town, a group of warlords drives around the neighborhood looking for people to kill. Their targets range from the weak and old to the desperate and homeless. They circle an ice cream van like a treacherous shark, intimidating the driver into protecting himself. These motherfuckers are scary. Nearby, a young girl, Kathy, and her father, Lawson, soon arrive at a stop after getting lost on their way. Lawson enters a payphone looking for directions while Kathy notices the parked ice cream truck. The driver, still shaken, is alarmed to discover the young child asking for her favorite ice cream. After receiving the wrong flavor of delicious dessert, Kathy heads back. What the child doesn't see is the man is violently shot by a warlord using a suppressor. The killer is cold and emotionless. Like a ghoul without fear, the assassin turns to the young girl and relentlessly shoots her dead in the chest, instantly killing her. Lawson discovers his child's lifeless body laying on the grass as the killers drive off into the distance. The weeping father is distraught and is now out for blood. Lawson chases the warlords down until he guns down the killer using the ice cream man's pistol. Still in shock, Lawson witnesses more of the warlords piercing through the darkness like ghosts. Lawson is chased to the same decommissioned precinct that Bishop now watches over. The grieving father arrives at Precinct 13. In a state of panic, Lawson is pretty much a zombie and cannot communicate with Bishop as to what is happening. Back in the cells, Starker locks up his prisoners. Before the lockdown, Wilson promised Starker he would reveal exactly why they call him Napoleon. Napoleon Wilson is witty, sarcastic, and a pure badass. Pretty much a lovable asshole with a mysterious past. Suddenly, the phone lines go down and the station's power comes to a halt. Cheney leaves the station to call for assistance, but is silently gunned down. As Starker prepares to transfer his prisoners back onto the bus, a hail of suppressed gunfire rips through the officers, including Starker and Caudell. Bishop is quick to grab Wilson and unchain him from Starker's dead body before placing him and Wells back into their cells. Bishop realizes the gang is using silencers to conceal all the noise. Within moments, the faceless thugs move forward once again and begin to light up the precinct with even more gunfire. Bishop has Leia release Wilson and Wells from the cells as more Street Thunder members attempt to break in through the back door. Wilson proceeds to fuck people up while Leia takes a bullet to the arm. Back in the lobby, bullets are flying and windows are shattering. Every ounce of the police station is struck by the silent weaponry. Bishop finally breaks open a weapon cache and flings a high-powered rifle to Wilson, resulting in multiple dead bodies hitting the floor. Wells is handed a handgun but was firing off blanks the entire time. What a hero. With yet another strong push into the precinct, the gang members continue their siege. The sound of gunfire and broken glass plays like a bloody symphony. The hooligans keep putting on the pressure, but our heroes keep dropping them dead. No remorse, no repent. After the attempted invasion is repelled, Leia discovers Julie's corpse riddled with bullets. Meanwhile, Lawson is pretty much still comatose in a corner. Bishop gathers Leia and the two convicts and try to put together just what the fuck is going on. Outside, the silent villains remove all evidence that a firefight ever happened by placing cars back in place and recovering all of the dead bodies, including Starker. The remaining warlords walk up to the front of the precinct and deliver a message by smashing the glass containing all of their blood on top of a banner. The message is loud and clear: to the death. As time rapidly passes, Wells is chosen to escape through the sewer system and go for help.
1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4, 5 day, 6 day, 7 day, more. 8 day, 9 day, 10 day, 11. Kiss my ass and go to heaven. Y-O-U spell you. I told you I'd lose. God damn it, we're gonna do it again.
While hot wiring a nearby vehicle, Wells contemplated calling for assistance, but is killed by a gang member hiding in the back seat.
Surprise, motherfucker.
As Bishop, Wilson, and Leia decide on a final stand, two patrolling officers discover the body of a murdered telephone repairman dangling, leaking blood. The two officers scramble and call for immediate backup. Our remaining survivors take refuge down into the basement for a final stand. A tank of acetylene gas is placed into the corner of the basement entrance as Bishop and Wilson hold up a large metal sign as a shield. With little ammo left, every shot counts. As Bishop and Wilson wait, Bishop, like Starker, is curious about why exactly is he called Napoleon. Obviously, Wilson doesn't answer as they are bum rushed by the Street Thunder as they attempt to finish what they started. Bishop takes aim and after a couple missed shots, he finally lands a bullet and explodes the gas tank, killing everyone in the hallway. The police now arrive and the station is now evacuated by the remaining gang members. They skirmish away like cockroaches as law enforcement secure the station. Lawson is carted out, but not before acknowledging Bishop, Wilson, and Leia. Leia refused the stretcher and leaves on her own accord, but not before giving one final stare to Wilson. As the smoke clears, an officer attempts to handcuff Wilson, but Bishop ain't having it. Bishop grew a strong respect for Wilson and asked if he would walk out the precinct with him, not as a prisoner, but as a hero. Assault on Precinct 13 is without a doubt one of my absolute favorite John Carpenter films. The film's soundtrack is classic Carpenter, of course, and is arguably the highlight of this 70s gem. And also, what is an early Carpenter flick without Nancy Loomis? The juxtaposition between Bishop and Wilson worked so well together. There is just something about the local Boy Scout having to team up with the resident bad boy. Just imagine the Pope and the Fonz having to hang out with each other. Not to mention fuck people up. Assault on Precinct 13 isn't a horror film, it's a siege movie. However, that doesn't mean there isn't any horror to be found in this cult classic. Street thunder, faceless as the snow, is an unrelentless force of nature. They just keep coming and coming and coming. These villains don't speak, they have zero identity, we know nothing about them, and that's what makes them scary. Carpenter really did model these villains after mindless zombies, no doubt about it. Again, they just keep coming and coming and coming to the death. And that, my horror fiends, is fucking frightening. Thank you for coming down to another episode of Horror Fiend Drive-In Theater. Please leave a like on your way out. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel for a multitude of variety centering around our favorite genre in film. Horror motherfuckers. I'm Ricky Grimes. See you on the next one. Stay scared.